В началото на месеца пътувах до Париж по покана на Warner Bros. Discovery, които днес, 26 юли, ще излъчват в стриминг услугата си Max всяка минута от летните Олимпийски игри в Париж 2024. В сайта вече можете да прочетете повече детайли, включително за новите възможности на платформата, а в това видео ви предлагам разговора ми с Скот Янг, главен вицепрезидент по съдържанието, продукцията и бизнес операциите в Warner Bros. Discovery Sports Europe.
So, today at the press conference, I heard that the arrival of Max is the game changer for this year's Olympics.
Yes.
Why is that? How is it changing the game?
I think the game changer for us is streaming, right? And Max is our primary streaming platform. Our streaming platforms offer an Olympic audience to control how they want to watch the Olympic Games, no matter not only when they want to watch it, where they want to watch it. Right? So the portability of streaming is very unique, and that is the next step from traditional linear television, where you would be in your home plugged into your television. Now the power of the Olympics is in your hands, and we're going to offer up every moment of the Olympic Games. So not only can you watch it where you want, when you want, but you can watch what you want.
And you were talking about how many hours you're going to produce. How many actually, and what is the additional content except for the tournaments themselves?
Yeah, so our coverage will start with the OBS coverage, right, with 3,800 hours of competition footage coming our way. But that is just the start. So key markets, around Europe, will have access to amazing Olympians to tell the stories. We will have access in every venue, so we'll be talking to the athletes as they've completed their competition. We'll have breakfast programming. We'll have programs that are made actually for us in our United States office. So we'll have teams overnight curating different content, highlights of different matches. So our content portfolio, our content offering goes way beyond the competition, because our role as a broadcaster is to tell the story of the Olympians at the Olympic Games. So 10,500 athletes arriving into France and Paris predominantly to compete and their dreams of being an athlete and a competitor, an Olympian, are about to come true. How successful they are is up to their day of competition. But our role is to try and tell that story, and to do it on streaming is the most powerful platform we've got.
Yeah. And is it content going to be available also afterwards, to watch after the live streaming?
Yeah, and our VOD content, absolutely, yeah. So we'll edit certain sections of our programming so it is consumable. Otherwise you could drown yourself in thousands of hours of competition. But yeah, so our days will start with breakfast programming. So every day we'll start with a program in the morning that will help you understand what happened the night before and what is coming up the day ahead. Every day we'll finish with a highlights program that will be curated to give you an idea of what transpired on that day at the Olympics. And those programs will be VOD assets, VOD assets that you can then go and pull up on any given day on the streaming platform.
Great. Could you actually say what kind of how big of an interest do you expect from your audience, from your users of Max? Because we haven't seen the Olympics on a streaming platform.
Well, we've seen Tokyo and Beijing on Discovery Plus.
Oh, okay. On Max.
Yeah. So I think the first iteration for us was to learn what an Olympic Games looks like on streaming, and we did it in certain markets on Discovery Plus. And we learnt an enormous amount of the audience engagement and interest in being able to find sports they normally wouldn't necessarily watch. Because those big tentpole sports will always be big Olympic sports, they'll always be surfaced on linear television, and they'll be front and centre of our streaming product on Max. But the other option for us is all of these other lesser known, less popular sports that normally come to life when Olympic Games is held, they're also going to be sitting side by side on these rails on Max. So they're going to really enjoy and experience an audience that comes into an Olympics once every 4 years and starts to navigate through our different platforms and start to go, you know what, I might watch archery for a minute, or I might watch diving, or I might watch equestrian. Even if I don't normally, it's now sitting along these rails and very easy to navigate. I think that's where we're going to find an audience that is very used to navigating streaming platforms. right? There is a younger generation that is very familiar with getting content on a streaming platform, and when we start putting sport, alongside our popular entertainment on Max, we're going to see an audience that understands that adjacency of here is my favourite TV show and here is my favourite sport.
Yeah. Could you possibly compare this sports event on Max to one of your big TV shows like House of the Dragon or whatever? I mean, like a point of time for this year.
I think that's a great comparison. I mean, House of the Dragon is an epic adventure that has been released in this market around the time of the Olympics, because we do see those big tentpole moments as important times to bring an audience into a platform to take a look. So even if they weren't necessarily thinking of coming to watch House of the Dragon, or they weren't thinking of coming to watch the Olympics, we know the content is so strong and the platform is easy to navigate and enjoy that once we land them on the platform, once they watch the first episode of House of the Dragon, or they start to watch the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games, we're very confident they're going to stay.
Yeah. What was the biggest challenge in bringing the Olympics to Max? Could you say the technical or else?
No, the technical teams have done a phenomenal job in getting Max ready to firstly hold all the entertainment content and then deal with the numerous live streams that will come from the Olympic Games. At any one point we will have 60 live concurrent sports streaming on Max at one time. The body of volume of content, including the VOD assets, will be placed up there every day. So it's an extraordinary undertaking by the streaming and product teams to get Max ready for Olympic Games. Olympic Games are Herculean, right? They are massive in every aspect, including broadcast. So for us, I don't think it was so much an opportunity, but it was the challenge that we knew what we wanted to surface, we knew what we wanted the customer experience to be. It was how do we make that happen in time for Paris 2024.
What's the next big sport event you're going to stream?
That's the great thing about being involved in our sports business. WBD Sports Europe and Eurosport and Sport on Max. So of course, straight after the Olympic Games, the next day is Tour de France Femme. So it's the women's version of the Tour de France, which starts on the Monday after the closing ceremony. We have the US Open, we have the Vuelta. We start football in the UK, so Premier League starts 1 week after the closing ceremony. So sport never sleeps, it continues to roll on. And of course, the next Olympic Games are only 18 months away with Milano Cortina in February 2026. So our teams will take a break, they'll get a very well-earned rest, and they'll be back at it pretty quickly for the next Olympic Games.
Actually, I have a question from a friend of mine who's really interested. He's actually covering this topic. You have many old school programs like legacy content, but not everything is available everywhere. I mean, in Europe, for example, do you plan to expand this catalog, or this stays just for the States, or I don't know?
No, look, catalog rights are similar to sports rights. So they get released at certain times depending on when that sale was originally done. So distribution agreements and wholesale agreements are all timed. So our catalogue is for us to determine when those rights become available, whether we continue with affiliate partners or whether we change that and bring it back onto our platform.
Okay. And last question, what was the last thing you streamed on Max?
The last thing was yesterday's stage of Tour de France.
Okay.
As to today's stage of Tour de France is still going, and tomorrow's stage of Tour de France will be on there.
So you're a fan?
I'm a fan.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks,
thank you.
Cheers.
Just to take the microphone.